Welcome back to Chakra Free Radio. I'm Gopal.
I'm Ray.
Ray, how's it going, man?
You know, tough week. We had talked about it already, but tough week. Tough choices ahead, and just pushing through like always.
Yeah.
How's your week?
Yeah. It's fine, man. No, now that I meditate all the time, everything's fine.
That's what I was gonna tell you. I haven't been able to lock in and like be distracted free from like my phone or like gaming or anything for like the past like couple weeks.
Yeah, it's tough. You gotta make the mental effort to just say I'm gonna do it.
No, like it's like I wanted to literally text you the other day, like, bro, like I feel like I haven't been able to just like chill.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm always getting like a text or something now, or like corporate's calling me about something, about some dumb ice cream. Or like just something in general. It's just like, yeah, I haven't been able to just like rest.
Yeah. Well, now
rest my mind.
Yeah. Now that you're aware that that's a problem, right?
Yeah.
Before you probably weren't really thinking about it.
Yeah. I probably need to go next to some water. It's kind of weird that that's the only time I ever been able to like block things out is when I'm next to like a body of water.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's a short walk. I should, from where I work.
Yeah.
Should go down to the seaport.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, we'd like to thank you for joining us for this episode, where we're going to be discussing the much publicized conflict between world famous rappers Kendrick and Drake.
Mm-hmm.
Now, this is something that has been in the press for a long time, and a lot of people have talked about it. Maybe we'll bring some slightly different perspective to it. But before we get into it, up front, we want to really stress a couple of points. So number one, this is not at all a judgment of either Kendrick or Drake. We're not in their shoes. We're not capable of judging them. In the Bible, it says, "Judge not, lest ye be judged." And that's there in the Christian tradition. I would emphasize again for this episode in particular. Within yoga, there is a huge emphasis on non-injury in thought, word, and deed. And so, there's hesitancy around even discussing some of these topics, but ultimately I think there may be some valuable lessons for us and maybe some illustrative things to talk about.
I always said I wasn't going to touch this because it's hard for me to put my bias aside. Because, Team Drake.
Yeah.
But,
yeah. And so I was about to say, so Ray may be one of the biggest Drake fans on the planet, right? I don't know. I mean, there's probably not many people out there who are bigger fans.
I mean, in terms of I listen to only Drake, buy only Drake vinyls. I mean, I have J. Cole's vinyls. And Good Kid, Mad City is a classic.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm not oblivious to other people's work. You know what I mean?
Right.
But
yeah. And I was about to say again, this is in the realm of personal opinion. For me, Kendrick's album, Good Kid, Mad City. For me, I think it's the best album of the 2000s. Right. And again, personal opinion. For me, there's not even a close second. Right. I mean, for me, there's just hit after hit after hit on that album. And I know you're going to take the Drake side of this, but even you've agreed that if on the 10 out of 10 scale, that Good Kid, Mad City is a 10 out of 10.
Yeah. Nothing was the same as a 10 out of 10 too, though.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Regardless, the important point here is that Kendrick and Drake are obviously phenomenally talented musicians who've had, world-changing careers.
Mm-hmm.
Now, this is where we want to get into some of the discussion points around this. Now, Good Kid, Mad City, amazing album, a lot of hit singles on it. I think sometimes people tend to forget that album opens with the Sinner's Prayer.
Mm-hmm.
And so that album is in some ways dedicated to Jesus. Right. Now, most people probably wouldn't make this link. To me, I think it's there. If you're dedicating the opening of an album to Jesus, then whatever comes out of that, in some ways you owe some debt to Jesus for whatever outcome that is.
Yeah.
Right. Now, again, most people probably wouldn't think of it that way or take it that seriously, but It's an interesting question. There's obviously, spiritual matters are really, really important to Kendrick. He spent a lot of time discussing them, thinking about them, both in his work and also in public settings. And so that's why we want to talk about this issue and this conflict. So maybe just to start off, so I'm going to read a quote that Kendrick made about Drake, and this is back in 2012. And this is when Kendrick apparently opened for Drake on the 2012 tour. I think maybe more about the history than I do.
Mm-hmm. Kendrick and A$AP Rocky. The two people during this rap beef that went at him.
Yeah. So this is Kendrick speaking about Drake, and he says, "That's a real good dude. He got a real genuine soul."
Mm-hmm.
Okay, 2012. Now, obviously they were getting along back then.
Yeah.
And then something happened. So what, Ray, I think the history better than I do, but like what was the trigger point for the conflict? And
well, I think at that point in their lives, they were both, Kendrick was like right here and Drake was starting his ascension, right? So he was easier to probably talk to and they were easier to relate. I think over the years, they both have gone like skyrocketed, but Drake has pop fame and Kendrick has the conscious rapper fame.
Yeah.
And I think they both want
the other seat.
Yeah, they want the other, like Drake wants to be known as, oh, I can rap too. You know what I mean? Like he wants that conscious side too. He wants those fans. You know what I mean? He wants people to know that he could do that too, which he can.
Right.
But, and then on the other side, Kendrick, he wants that, he wants that pop fame. He has had pop hits, but not to the success of what Drake is. And I just think that I think it was bound to happen.
Yeah.
I think it was like Biggie and Tupac happened, Nas and Jay-Z happened. Like it's bound to happen.
Right. Two talented people with big egos.
I mean, at the top, at the top, you know what I mean? Like, 50 Cent, Ja Rule, like, and you know what I mean? Like it happens, bro. Like people go at each other, like rap beefs happen.
Yeah. So they go from, getting along, pretty well to degenerating into petty name calling. I mean, some of the stuff that they've said to one another, it's kind of like, it's a little outrageous, right? I mean,
yeah. Pedophile and women abusers is not, those are two like no-nos.
Yeah.
And they both mention kids. It's like, yeah. It's a tricky slope.
Yeah.
But I think that's the only thing that they can really go at. You know what I mean? They can't really go at each other in like a way of like they can't like, oh, you can't rap, when they both know that they can rap good.
Right.
You know what I mean? So you really can't, like Kendrick can't talk about Drake's numbers because Drake's numbers are astronomically better than his.
Right.
So like, the only thing he would have to actually go at him about is that he has to dig deep, like try to find some dirt or what the consensus is about Drake online is.
Yeah.
And vice versa with Kendrick, you know what I mean? I mean, with Drake talking about Kendrick. He has to dig deep because you can't say that Kendrick can't rap.
Right. Clearly you can't. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, you just can't. So, like, it got to that point. Usually with the other rap beefs, it's like, all right, bro, like, you're whack, you know what I mean? But it's like, they're just talking about two specific things. Like,
yeah. And so, I want to turn to kind of, I think, an important part of this conversation, which is, for public figures and artists, how much responsibility do they bear for what they say in public? And I'm asking this as a philosophical question.
Should be 50-50.
There's a public persona, and maybe you got to play up to it, and maybe you do certain things to, attract a bigger following or bigger audience. But, there are certainly a lot of teachings within spiritual traditions that say that every human being is responsible for every single one of their actions. We think about a conflict like this, it kind of puts the idea into a lot of people's heads that maybe, if Kendrick and Drake are having conflicts and fights, maybe I should be having conflicts and fights, right? Maybe this is like the sign of true success, is to be in a feud with somebody else.
That's a sick way of thinking.
Yeah. But I'm curious on your thoughts on that, right? Because to me, I think people tend to do, when famous and respected people do in public, I think a lot of people say, hey, that's what I need to do, or that's what I should do, right? Because they want to emulate, people they admire. And so when there's activities and behaviors that maybe are not as admirable, and yet it's still happening in public, what responsibility does that figure bear, if any?
I think it's 50-50. You know what I mean? Like, that's because Drake's having a beef. I don't want to have a beef.
Right.
You know what I mean? Whatever he says in his lyrics, like, don't like if he goes to tell me to go shoot somebody, I'm not gonna go shoot somebody.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, I'm still living for me.
Right.
I like music as what it does for me, and like what it does for my moods. Like it sets my tone for the day. But like what they say is not like, maybe for other people. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, that's what I'm going to say. I mean, maybe you've got a rational approach to it. You can listen to it as art and enjoy it.
That's what it is.
Yeah. And maybe not internalize all of it. Right.
I mean, these two rappers are just art. Like, if you're talking about like other music, like drill music and all that other stuff where they're telling you to go bow, bow, shoot, shoot. Like, that's different. You know what I mean? To me, that's a lifestyle, the way that those rappers rap. But the way Drake, Kendrick, Cole, Wale, the way they rap is just art.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, you could see the purity in what they're saying.
Yeah. No, but you're able to analyze it and enjoy it as an art form and not internalize the message. I think there's a lot of people out there who do internalize it and say, well, this is, I want to be Kendrick, I want to be Drake, and so I'm going to do everything they do. And I can't be a famous rapper, but I can have a feud.
Yeah, there's people that that try to look like these dudes, though.
Right.
It's kind of like weird.
Right.
Like, I'm a big fan, but I would never like try to look like somebody.
Yeah.
I would never like. You're never gonna be those people.
Yeah.
Like, I would say this in terms of like what they talk about. Like, Drake talks about like he's in the Bebelos and like the Masoni room. I don't know what that is. That doesn't relate to me. But like, it's a good song. I can listen to that song, Middle of the Ocean. Like, I can analyze like, oh, like I could listen to this on the boat. You know what I mean? Like, if I ever go on like a sunset cruise or something, and I throw on my headphones, or if I'm in like Miami and going on a boat ride with my wife or something, I can put this on in the middle of the ocean. Everything else, what he's saying, you know what I mean? Like that upper echelon rich talk, I have no idea what he's talking about. You know what I mean? He can keep that, but
yeah.
I analyze it from different points of view.
Yeah, and maybe just on the Kendrick side of things, to me, again, this is a personal opinion thing. He brings Jesus and spirituality so frequently into his work that I think there's maybe a level of responsibility on his part.
I think so.
If you're going on stage dressed as Jesus, I think there's a little bit of a, I think there's a little bit of a responsibility to perhaps live out more of the teachings than just, if you're going to appear as the character, then maybe you should apply some of the teachings in day-to-day life. And I will say there's obviously a lot of politicians, a lot of other public figures who shout Jesus, Jesus, for their own personal ends. I think the difference with Kendrick, and obviously, we don't know him personally, but I think he takes Jesus's teachings very, very seriously. And you look at a track like Reincarnated, in those lyrics, it's clear that Kendrick is really, really struggling with these questions of identity and fame and money. And they're both in very, very tough seats, right? They're in public all the time, all the pressure, all the temptations.
Yeah. I was listening to that track last night because you told me to. I think he's rapping from the perspective of Tupac, though. Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of layers to it, but I think
because he sounds like Tupac. That's a Tupac hit 'em up beat.
Right.
Spin off. Kendrick's always been like the storytelling more overly than most rappers, but he has this like stigma about him where it's like he talks like that, but I feel like he doesn't walk it all the time. You know what I mean? I feel like you can't say the certain things in hip hop and then always be like talking the Jesus talk or whatever. Because I feel like it doesn't match up. Like, you can't always want to diss people.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
And like that don't work in hip hop. You know what I mean? Like turn the other cheek. All those teachings in the Bible and him over like wearing the crown on stage and stuff like it don't mix.
Yeah. Well, this is this is an important question, right? What matters more to Kendrick, Jesus or his rap career?
I think new Kendrick probably would say his rap career.
right.
I mean,
yeah,
let's
and I can't answer it, right?
Yeah.
But this is when we get into some of the thornier questions around spirituality and religion is we get this is from the book of Matthew, chapter 6, verse 24. No one can serve two masters, for either he will hate the one and love the other, or else he will be devoted to one and despise the other. You can't serve both God and mammon. And mammon, for those who don't know, would be, wealth and fame and outward material success.
Yeah.
Right. And so I think it's an interesting question, and it's maybe one that Kendrick's going to have to answer at some point in his life. What matters to him more, his outward public success or Jesus's teachings? Right. I mean, these are again difficult, thorny question, and I'm going to say something that would probably horrify his business managers, but like if he's serious about Jesus's teachings, at some point he may have to give up the rap career.
Yeah. I don't think he's gonna do that, but
right.
I mean, I think they're both slow. Like they're both slowing down, though.
Yeah,
I think they're both. I mean, Drake's 39.
Is he really?
Yeah, I think Kendrick is 2 years younger than Drake. I believe 3 years, but Drake's old.
Yeah,
he don't look it because he's rich.
Yeah,
he's old.
Yeah.
I think also Kendrick started like that for Good Kid, Mad City. But that was like his first official studio album. Like I feel like that's just like how most of them always start. You know what I mean? Like Drake's first line in Thank Me Later, his first official studio album was Money Just Changed Everything. I wonder how life without it would go.
Right.
And now he has all that money now at the end, and you're kind of seeing like, oh, you know what I mean? Like you could go back to his old lyrics and see like he was always talking about money and all that stuff.
Right.
You know what I mean? Trying to balance it and realize what it's going to be.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. And then this raises the question, at what point does money and fame start to interfere with the art? Immediately? I don't know.
I mean, I think for us, they become like unrelatable a little bit sometimes.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like the things that they're talking about, like talking like all these like places, like half of us are never gonna be able to attain these places.
Right.
You know what I mean? I don't know. Like I said, I don't know what the Masoni room is.
Right.
I just don't. You know what I mean?
I think a lot of this, some of the original conflict maybe was personal about, who was better than whom. And I know at some point there's I think it was a J. Cole song where he was saying that J. Cole, Kendrick, and Drake were the top 3 rappers.
Yeah, that was on First Person Shooter.
Yeah.
On Drake's song.
Yeah. And then, there's subsequent conflict over whether the list is 3 or 2 or 1. And I guess probably all 3 think the list is 1.
Yeah. Yeah.
But, we got to acknowledge that this is a big universe. And even if you're the most famous rapper on the planet, in the grand scheme of the universe, it doesn't really mean that much.
Maybe not like, probably to the ego it does though.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm sure it means a lot to the personal ego, but
I mean, when you play sports or like rap is kind of like a sport, like you're not going to say that you're second best.
Right. It comes with the territory. I mean, if you're going to get up on stage, you got to think you're the best.
Like I'm pretty sure Anthony Edwards thinks he's the best basketball player.
Right.
I'm pretty sure Shea thinks he's the best basketball player. Pretty sure Tatum thinks he's the best basketball player.
Right.
Well, we all know it's LeBron, but
yeah.
That's neither here or there. But yeah, I mean, I feel like that's just what they're gonna think at all times.
Right. Yeah, and I think a lot of this is like kind of an argument about, who's the king of pop or the king of rap. There used to be a king of pop. His name was Michael Jackson. Wherever he is now, he's not the king of pop anymore.
Yeah.
Again, a little bit of the, they're fighting about this. For them, this is a big deal right now. Question is, well, I think we bring this up maybe too often, but on their deathbed, is that what they're going to be thinking about? Like I was the number one rapper in the year 2023. It's an interesting question. Like what are Kendrick and Drake going to be thinking about the moment they pass?
Probably their family. I hope.
Yeah.
I hope. I think they'll be able to look back upon this in like 5 years and like hopefully they'll have a conversation.
Yeah.
I would hope they grown and had a real like. I mean, even Kobe and Shaq had a conversation towards the end.
Yeah, it took a while, but they got there. Yeah.
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 A lot of it's just like, I don't know, like it's just so ego driven. Like the way the rap, like Drake didn't have to shoot at him, Kendrick didn't have to shoot at him, J. Cole didn't have to like initiate this.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like
there's
so much like unknown like in the backstory, which is like I don't really care about that stuff.
Yeah.
I just care about what was brought to the forefront.
Right. But the conflict, it's been good for business.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, they're in the press a lot.
Yeah.
They're dropping diss tracks at one another, which a lot of people listen to.
Good for Kendrick.
Yeah. Well, I think it's good for,
I mean, Drake's numbers are never going to dip, though. That's the thing, though. Drake's numbers is never going to dip. Just remember that.
I know. You're a Drake homer. It's fine.
I'm just saying. Kendrick, at the end of the day, listen to me. Kendrick, at the end of the day, he just got to the top right now.
Right.
By mentioning another man.
Yeah.
Just think about that.
Yeah.
Like, he didn't even have concrete evidence. Right. Vice versa with Drake, too.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They just blurted what it was already theorized on the internet. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And, like, I think there's more to it. I think there's more to, like the music companies.
Right.
Trying to devalue an asset.
Right.
And they use one asset against the other asset.
Right.
And I think if the roles were reversed, if it was Kendrick all the way at the top, who was trying to be brought down, and it was Drake shooting, I think the music companies would do the same thing. I think they would have tried to get as much information to Drake or whatever to try to get him to bring his Kendrick down a little bit more, so that way they're not as valuable.
Right.
And that's a whole separate argument, right? That like music companies and what they do to their rosters,
right, and
how they value them and devalue them is crazy.
Yeah, and I think this is maybe an important theme of this episode is a lot of this is an economic machine that maybe doesn't really care about the individual soul, all that much, and as long as the listens and the unit sales are there, as
long as the streams are there,
right.
I wish that it would like go away from that and just go back to strictly just art,
right? Art
and purpose and what they got in it for,
right?
Am still gonna listen? Yes,
right.
But like, yeah,
so it's a tough thing, right? Because in some ways, being a rapper means being in public, living a large lifestyle. Like it's like it's kind of like it comes with the territory, but when we look at spiritual traditions, what spiritual traditions value is inner contemplation, not outward display, and it's a tough conflict. If you're somebody who's in that seat and yet you still care about spiritual issues, I think it's a very, very difficult thing to try to balance.
Yeah,
I mean, it's hard because the world values outward success.
Yeah.
And
that goes back to like the previous conversations we had about like fashion and all that other stuff.
Right.
It's just what the world values.
Right.
It sucks.
Right.
That's just what it is, though. Like, right. You know what I mean? They value on what you appear,
right,
instead of what's actually inside.
Right. Something we've talked about prior to this, and I think it's a valid point. Right. This is, and you mentioned the history of the rap feuds. a lot of them have ended in gunshots and people being dead.
Mm-hmm.
For this conflict, it's a lot of petty insults, but no one's died. So maybe there's some signs of underlying human progress here. The rap beef doesn't have to involve a gun being fired anymore.
There was one person shot.
Well, who was that?
I think a Drake security guard in at his house.
Oh, really?
They said like some random fan did that. But yeah,
collateral damage.
I wish they would just like go behind closed doors and just like fight. No, really, it's like, bro, like it's just like, who cares?
Right.
And if you do hate each other that much, then you would do that.
Right.
You know what I mean? They have enough money to attain anything they want in life.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure they can call anybody they want to and, hey, meet me right here in this closed area. No phones, nothing. Me and you hash this out right now.
Yeah. Yeah. I wonder,
if they really hated each other.
Yeah. I wonder who would win.
I don't know. I mean, you can't sleep on Kendrick, man. He's from Compton. So I wouldn't be surprised if Kendrick got into a lot of fights growing up.
Yeah. Oh yeah, which reminds me, before we started, Ray mentioned that today is Drake's birthday. And
yeah, I did. But besides the fact that I'm an avid Drake fan, all I remember is that Drake's birthday is in October because he always mentions October. Yeah. And I know it's in the 20s.
Right.
I don't have like Drake's birthday like in my calendar, like it's Drake's birthday. Like, no, like but yeah, when we had this episode in mind like for like 3 weeks now, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so like we wasn't even thinking about it.
Yeah.
I woke up and I was like, oh man, it's Drake's birthday. People are gonna say so much about me.
Yeah.
But it's also, we talked about this earlier. The World Series starts tonight.
Yeah.
And it's the Toronto Blue Jays, Drake, versus the Los Angeles Dodgers, Kendrick.
Yeah.
I'm saying, man, it's just the stars are aligning right now.
Yeah. Well, by the time this episode actually comes out and is public, it's going to be long over. But
I know, but and calling this first, it's going to be the Blue Jays. As a Red Sox fan, that hurts to say, but I feel like it's going to be the Blue Jays.
Yeah. All I want to add on is my favorite song by either Kendrick or Drake is "Poetic Justice," which obviously they were. It's
a beautiful song.
Yeah, it was a joint project. I mean, I think Drake's lyrics on that track are.
It's a beautiful
insane.
song.
Yeah, and it's like that's like what an amazing thing when they worked together and got along. It's great art.
Yeah,
right? And it's like. I don't know. I hope they can sit down in the studio again at some point and work on something together.
The egos are too big, man.
Yeah, it may not be possible anymore, but
the egos are too big.
Yeah.
I wish, but the egos are too big, and that's just like a whole different like. I don't think like even if they did, the perception of them would be like, oh, you like, you know what I mean? Like you cowered out and you like squashed it.
Yeah.
Which is like totally like backwards mind thinking. It's like, bro, we're supposed to be able to progress in life.
Right.
We're supposed to show growth. You know what I mean? Like I can't hate one person for the rest of my life. That's like not in like any teachings.
Yeah, but a lot of people do, right? A lot of people it becomes the central core of their being is hating one other human being, intensely for their entire life. And it's like, I don't know. It happens a lot.
That would weigh so heavy on my heart towards the end.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like if I was able to live a long life, like, and then it would, take it to another area. Like that would weigh even more heavy on my heart. Like if they died and I never got to say my piece to them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I feel like I would never be at peace if I had that much hatred or, despise for a human being.
Yeah. But I think a lot of people don't want to be at peace. I think a lot of people live for conflict and hatred.
Yeah.
And maybe it's because they've been, learned it or trained that way or whatever. But, it's not. I don't know. I think you have a mature viewpoint on it. I think a lot of people would.
Yeah.
It really becomes the central feature of their life is to hate one other human being intensely.
I mean, the mature mindset comes from I think just like regular growth.
Yeah.
Like, does like old parts of Ray still come out? Yes, but like there's always like there's always new plants growing. You know what I mean?
Right.
Within my mind, you know what I mean? Like
Right.
that's what you gotta look. That's what you gotta look at it sometimes.
Yeah.
Whether you like Drake, whether you love Kendrick, whether you love Drake, whether you love Kendrick, it does not matter. You know what I mean? Like it like your viewpoints on them will never they'll never hear this. They'll never hear that. You know what I mean? Like maybe, who knows? But like at the end of the day, it's like just listen to the music for what it is. Hopefully you can get something from it.
Right.
Whatever that is, you know what I mean? Hopefully you get some creativity, it sparks something in you, and then you go create something yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And again, we want to acknowledge amazing performers,
Yeah.
and they've touched the lives of hundreds of millions, if not billions of people.
Yeah.
And
Drake is the soundtrack to my life.
yeah. And that's maybe kind of the one thing, we haven't talked about.
Yeah.
Just to wrap up this topic is they are public figures who are touching hundreds of millions of people. Right.
Yeah.
And when the main message associated with them is conflict, it's for those hundreds of millions of people, that's that impression of I should be in a state of conflict gets reinforced.
Yeah.
Right. So it's an interesting question. We live in a world, 200 years ago, you couldn't really reach that many people, but nowadays, you can, they're in a position where they can touch the minds of hundreds of millions of people. And what kind of thoughts are they putting into the heads of others?
And just also remember that they're humans too. You know what I mean? Like
struggling in very, very difficult
we
public.
watch these guys grow up in front of us.
Right.
You know what I mean? They turn into fathers in front of us.
Right.
You know what I mean? I don't know their love, whatever, but they've had numerous relationships in front of us. Like they're allowed to make mistakes. They're allowed to do lead whatever path that they're leading.
Right.
You know what I mean? We don't need to take it so serious.
Right.
That's the whole point. You know what I mean? Just enjoy the art for what it is.
Right.
And hopefully they create more, and then it helps us create.
Yeah. So for our donation for this episode, it's going to be to the Innocence Project, which is dedicated to helping those who've been wrongfully convicted of crimes to clear their names. Obviously, there's a lot of people in our prison system in this country, especially relative to other countries in the world. We imprison a lot of people.
Yeah.
For whatever little contribution we can give to help clear the name of somebody who's been wrongfully incarcerated. Hopefully some good comes out of it.
That's a good cause.
Yeah. So yeah, you ready for our minute?
Y'all ready?
Yeah.
All right.
Minute of unconditional love.
That was probably the most meditation I've had in a couple weeks. I was about to fall asleep right there.
That's good. You know, I opened my eyes before you this time.
Yeah, I know. I literally did not open my eyes that time. That's crazy.
Yeah.
I feel good.
Good, man. Yeah, I know you've had some stressful stuff the last couple of weeks. Hopefully that cleared some of that out.
Human life.
Yeah, human life. Yeah. Yeah, crazy thing, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, Ray, you got our quote for us. So this quote, I actually sent this. It's from a commentary on a text called the Yoga Sutras of Patanjali. So it's considered the standard textbook on yoga. We mentioned this in an earlier episode, the episode on stillness. But there's some pretty intense concepts in there, and I just shot over a little bit of it to Ray this morning. And funny thing with Ray is every time I throw really, really advanced philosophical concepts at him, it's like he gets it in a heartbeat, way faster than I ever could, and it makes me laugh because like it just comes so naturally to him. And so I think he decided he wants to quote this.
I just think the ones that you send are like really like feeling based.
Right.
And I'm a really like feeling type person, you know what I mean? Like I pull from my feelings all the time.
Right.
So I think that's why I'm just like so easy. But the man of spiritual discrimination regards all these experiences as painful, for even the enjoyment of present pleasure is painful, since we already fear its loss. Past pleasure is painful because renewed cravings arise from the impressions it has left upon the mind. And how can any happiness be lasting if it depends only upon our moods? For these moods are constantly changing as one or another of the ever-wearing gunas seizes control of the mind.
Yeah, it's a pretty intense statement, man.
Yeah. That part where for even the enjoyment of present pleasure is painful because we already fear its loss.
Yeah.
That part sticks with me the most because sometimes I feel like I'm not enjoying what's in front of me.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right. Because you want to hang on to it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like that feeling. I want that feeling to always be there. You know what I mean? And I try to pull from the past as I'm in the present too, to be like, oh, like I try to line them up. You know what I mean? Like, am I feeling this as this specific moment? And I think it's like a prisoner of the, what's that saying? Prisoner of the moment. Yeah.
Prisoner of the moment. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and this is a big part of yogic philosophy and teaching is that the human mind basically wants to hold on to moments of past pleasure and enjoyment, and it creates all kinds of problems.
Yeah.
So it's a difficult concept, right? I mean, most of us, we spend our day trying to create pleasant situations or thinking about either past pleasures or future pleasures we're going to have, and it's a different thing to look at it from the standpoint of, which these, Sage Patanjali emphasized in the Yoga Sutras, which is that the experience of pleasure is in and of itself painful because you're wanting to recreate the moment again.
Yeah.
So these are tough concepts to kind of accept.
And even what you said earlier, like a bad moment doesn't equal a bad day.
Right. We make a bad moment into, I had a horrible day, I had a horrible year, even though it may have been just one moment.
Yeah. And I told you I never like, even when like, I'm pretty sure you do this with your wife, but like you guys talk about your days.
Yeah.
I don't ever be like, oh, I had a bad day.
Right.
You know what I mean? I'd be like, I think she does sometimes, but I'd be like, I had like bad moments, you know what I mean? Like,
right.
But like a whole day being bad is kind of crazy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like for 24 hours where you like, you know what I mean?
Yeah. And I'm in the bad day camp. I've
really?
Yeah. I think I'm starting to break it, but I just used to feel bad. It was like a lot of like self-pity, woe is me stuff. And it's like, I look back, I'm kind of like, what the hell was I thinking?
Yeah.
Like it was just very, very self-absorbed thoughts. I mean, meanwhile, whatever little petty thing was upsetting me was a nothing burger,
Yeah.
And there's people out there struggling just to make it through the course of the day, and they're doing it day after day after day and not complaining. I was upset because Tom Brady beat the Steelers or something, like whatever it was. So it's, I don't know. It's just human psychology is a funny thing, man. It really is.
Yeah, but everybody's bad day and bad moments are different, though.
Yeah.
But that's the thing about people need to understand about humans. Like, we're all different.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The only thing that can like really like be like lined up with each human is like the empathy and sympathy we have for one another.
Yeah.
I feel like.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I don't know if this is like off topic, but like would being in jail for like 20 years, would that equal bad days?
So that's actually, it's interesting you bring that up.
Because I think there's enlightened individuals in there.
Yeah. Yeah. So one of the more interesting stories, there's a famous yogi in India named Sri Aurobindo, who lived in the 20th century, so relatively recently. And he was, at the time when he was young, India was still under British rule, and he was a freedom fighter, and he was involved with a lot of agitation to get self-rule for the Indian state. So he was put in prison. Before he went to prison, he was given some training by a highly spiritual being named Yogi Lele. And so he went into prison and he meditated. And for him, that prison, that stretch in jail was not, it was, for him, it was one of the most important things he went through, is because he was cut off and he was in a place and space where he could really focus on his inward journey. And it's an interesting question, right? Like, can a prison be a positive experience, and can what we perceive as a positive experience in the outward world actually be a prison in and of itself? Like, these are interesting questions.
That should be another pod.
Yeah. I think we will deal with that.
Yeah, we got philosophical at the end of Drake and Kendrick.
Yeah. Well, we'd like to thank you for joining us. We're both passionate about this topic, man. This Kendrick Drake thing. So I don't know. Hopefully somebody out there got something useful out of it.
I hope so too. Just remember that Drake is the best.
I'll let him close out with that.
All right.
Yeah. So until next time, this is Chakra Free Radio signing off.